Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we tear down corporate filings to find the juicy bits. And today we're diving into Nexus Incorporated's proxy statement, which, let me tell you, has some interesting tidbits about who is running the show and how they are getting paid. So, what is a proxy statement, you ask? Well, think of it as a company's annual report card, but more specifically, it is used when they want shareholders to vote on important stuff like electing directors or approving big financial decisions. This particular filing is for their 2025 annual street stockholders meeting, and it spills the beans on director elections, accounting firm ratifications and executive compensation, and believe me, some of those compensation numbers are pretty eye-popping. First off, let us talk about the big meeting itself. Nexus Incorporated, formerly known as Fundamental Global Incorporated and FG Financial Group Incorporated, is holding its 2025 annual street stockholders meeting to elect 9 directors, ratify their accounting firm, and vote on executive pay. The meeting will be virtual, which is pretty standard these days. It is set for the 17th of December 2025, and you need to be a stockholder by the 22nd of October 2025 to cast your vote. Now, they are also sending out notices of internet availability of proxy materials, which is a fancy way of saying they are mailing out a notice telling you where to find all the important documents online instead of sending you a whole stack of paper. This is meant to save trees and money, which is great, but make sure you actually check your email or mailbox for that notice. The filing is essentially a notice for their annual meeting. It outlines the key proposals, electing directors, approving the independent auditors, and a non-binding vote on executive compensation. It also tells you how to vote, and importantly, who gets to vote. If you own stock on the 22nd of October 2025, you are in. The company had about 42 million shares outstanding back then. Now, they have a whole section explaining all the nitty-gritty of the meeting, like who can attend and how to vote. If you hold shares in street name, meaning through a broker, you need to follow their instructions closely. Voting can be done by phone or internet, and they have set a deadline of the 16th of December 2025, just before the meeting. For online or phone votes to be counted, if you just sign and return a proxy card without instructions, your shares will be voted according to the board's recommendations, which usually means voting for what the company wants. Let's get to the heart of the matter, the directors. Proposal 1 is all about electing 9 directors. Each of them is nominated to serve for 1 year. Now, here is a little twist. The company has an agreement with O Group LLC where O Group gets to name 2 directors. This is to bring in outside expertise and keep the company on its toes. And who are these nominees? We have D. Kyle Sermonara, who is not only the chairman but also the chief executive officer, wearing 2 very important hats. Then there is Richard E. Govinian Jr., Rita Hayes, Michael C. Mitchell, Robert J. Rochman, Endamukong Sa, Jose Vargas, Maja Vujinovic, and Scott D. Wolney. It sounds like a pretty diverse group with experience in finance, business, and even sports with Endamukong Sa. D. Kyle Sermonara is a big player here. He's been CEO since February 2024 and chairman since May 2018. He has a serious background in institutional investing and has been involved in numerous companies, including special purpose acquisition companies or SPACs. He has a lot of experience in capital allocation and financial analysis, which is definitely relevant for a company like FG Nexus. The board believes his deep understanding of the financial industry makes him a valuable asset. Interestingly, the board has identified 6 out of its 9 current members as independent directors. This is important because it means they are not part of the company's management and are expected to provide objective oversight. Names like Richard E. Govinian Jr., Rita Hayes, Scott D. Wolney, and others are considered independent. This is a good sign for governance, although the role of chairman of the board and CEO being held by the same person. Mr. Sermonara is something to note. While they say it promotes clear accountability and efficient leadership, some might argue it could centralize too much power. When it comes to overseeing risks, the board has a structured approach. They rely on their committees, like the Audit Committee and the Compensation and Management Resources Committee, to dig into different areas of risk. They are also very focused on cybersecurity, which is a huge deal for any company these days. They receive regular updates on the company's cybersecurity program. Moving on to Proposal 2, it is about their independent auditors. Haskell & White LLP is proposed to be ratified as their accounting firm for 2025. They actually switched auditors from BDO USA PC on the 1st of April 2024. This is not uncommon, but it is always worth noting The filing details why the change was made and confirms there were no major disagreements with the former auditor. Here is a look at the actual numbers for accounting fees. For the year ending the 31st of December 2024, Haskell and White billed the company $528,000 for audit fees and another $28,900 for audit-related services. In 2023, when BDO was the auditor, the fees were $350,881. This means the audit fees significantly increased, which could be due to the change in auditors or the complexity of the work. The audit committee reviewed and discussed the financial statements. They talked with Haskell and White about independence and everything seemed to be in order. They recommended the financial statements be included in the company's annual report. This is a standard procedure, but it confirms the audit committee is actively involved. Now for the part that always grabs attention, executive compensation. The named executive officers for 2024 include D. Kyle Sermonara, the CEO Mark D. Robertson, the CFO Todd R. Major, the Chief Accounting Officer, and two former executives Larry G. Sweats Jr. and Hassan Arbakar. Let's look at the actual numbers. In 2024, D. Kyle Sermonara, who is CEO and Chairman, is listed with salary $, as hyphen, bonus $, as hyphen. But a significant stock awards $, of $458,500, and all other compensation $, of $175,000, bringing his total to $633,500. For 2023, his stock awards were $364,000, and other compensation was also $175,000, for a total of $539,000. It is interesting to note that as CEO and Chairman, his direct salary is $0, and he is compensated through stock awards and other benefits, aligning his pay with the company's performance. Mark D. Robertson, the CFO, had a salary of $333,333 in 2024. With $40,000 as a bonus and $9,550 in other compensation, for a total of $382,883. Todd R. Major, the Chief Accounting Officer, earned $318,883 with a salary of $270,833, a $40,000 bonus, and $8,050 in other compensation. Sweats Jr., the former CEO, had a higher salary of $550,000 in 2024, with $43,015 in other compensation, totaling $593,015 for 2023. His salary was also $550,000, but his stock awards were a massive $1,400,000, bringing his total compensation to almost $2 million, Hassan R. Bakar, the former CFO, shows $0 salary but $458,500 in stock awards and a whopping $480,000 in other compensation for 2024, totaling $938,500. For 2023, his stock awards were $364,000 and other compensation was also $480,000, for a total of $844,000. These numbers show a heavy reliance on stock awards and other compensation, which is a common strategy to tie executive pay to long-term company growth. Now let's talk about the pay versus performance table. This is a newer requirement that shows how executive pay compares to the company's financial performance. It is quite complex. For 2024, concerning the Principal Executive Officer D. Kyle Sermonara, the summary compensation table total was $527,917. But the compensation actually paid was $439,608. For the average non-PO NEOs in 2024, the SCT total was $533,611, but compensation actually paid was $424,683. For 2023, the PO's SCT total was a very high $1,974,081. But the compensation actually paid was $851,889. The average non-PO NEOs in 2023 had an SCT total of $844,000, and compensation actually paid was $631,667. It is crucial to understand that compensation actually paid is calculated differently than the standard summary compensation table. Adjusting for how the value of stock awards actually changes over time, it aims to reflect the real economic value received by the executives. The table also shows the value of an initial $100 investment in the company's stock. For 2024, that $100 investment is now worth only $24. For 2023, it grew to $44, and for 2022, it was $78. This illustrates the company's stock performance over these years, and it is not looking too stellar based on these numbers alone. This is a crucial metric for investors trying to see if their investment is keeping pace with executive compensation. Then we have Proposal 3, the Say on Pay vote. This is where stockholders get to voice their opinion on executive compensation. It is advisory, meaning the board doesn't have to follow it, but they do listen. The board recommends a for vote, believing their compensation philosophy aligns executive pay with company performance and stockholder returns. Looking at who owns the company, Syncrasy Operational Management LLC and .72 Asset Management LP are the largest shareholders, each holding about 8.2% of the company's stock. Citadel Advisors LLC holds 5.9%, D. Carl Sermonara, the CEO, holds 2.1%. And many other directors and executives hold smaller stakes. It is consolidated that all current executive officers and directors together own about 4.1%. This level of insider ownership is generally a good sign, indicating that the leadership has a vested interest in the company's success. The company also discloses transactions with related parties. This includes investments in funds where executives or directors have an interest, like FG Special Situations Fund and FG Merchant Partners. There are also service agreements, such as the one with Fundamental Global Management LLC, where the company pays a significant fee for management services. These disclosures are important for transparency, ensuring that business dealings involving related parties are fair and beneficial for the company. Now, looking at FG Nexus Incorporated's proxy statement, there is a clear story here. The company is actively managing its leadership structure, appointing new roles, and seeking to align executive compensation with performance, especially through stock awards. The stock performance numbers shown in the pay versus performance table are a bit concerning, indicating that while executives are being compensated, the stock value has declined significantly in recent years. This suggests that the long-term alignment of pay with shareholder return might not be as strong as intended, or that external market factors are heavily impacting stock value. The reliance on stock awards for top executives like D. Kyle Sermonara shows a strategy to incentivize long-term value creation. However, the significant increase in audit fees and the substantial payments to related parties under service agreements warrant closer investor scrutiny. The board is trying to project an image of strong governance with independent directors, but the dual role of CEO and chairman in one person, while common, always raises questions about checks and balances. In conclusion, FG Nexus Incorporated is navigating a complex business environment. Their focus on digital assets and financial services continues, but the financial performance indicated by shareholder returns suggests challenges ahead. Investors should pay close attention to how the company addresses the declining stock value and the associated compensation structures. Alright, that is our breakdown of FG Nexus Incorporated's proxy statement. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord community in the description below for more discussions. Thanks for watching. See you next time.